Hello and welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 285. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer, alongside the one and only Too Fresh Crash. How you doing, Crash? You good?
I'm doing good. How about you?
You know me, bro. I try my best to, keep moving forward every day, one step at a time, moving forward,
Yeah.
bam, 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 bam,
That was a lot of enthusiasm, I'll be honest.
I've
I
got
wasn't
energy this
expecting it.
morning. I've got energy this
I
morning.
can
I'm
see.
just saying. Or this afternoon, I should say. Bro, life has been mad busy. Mad busy. I was off location shooting something secret that I can't talk about yet, which was a lot of fun to do, which you'll see at some point, everybody. First things first, I need to apologise for the audio at the start of last week's episode. Kresh was, for some reason, his audio was so quiet on my end, but I turned it up once I'd realised, and some people thought the audio was all balked. It was literally like the first 30 seconds, and I apologise for that. For people that were listening, it did sort itself out, so I didn't want to re-upload it after it already had so many amount of views and people had already realised. So again, if you listened last week and thought there was a bug on the audio, there currently technically was, but it fixed itself. So I apologise for that. Kresh, what you been up to? Anything?
Honestly, no, not
No?
really. This past week's been a quiet week.
Quiet week for Kresh, eh? What's
Quiet
that
week.
like? Is that like nice? With everything that's been going on, is it nice to have just a quiet week of doing nothing?
You'd assume so, right?
I mean,
But it was just weird.
yeah, I mean, that makes sense though. If you've been busy constantly, like
Yeah.
all the time, busy, and then like you just sat around like doing nothing, you're kind of like, what do I do now? Like, play video games? Did you do that?
I did that, and then I played too many where I got kind of burned out on them.
Oh my gosh. You can't
and
win,
I
mate.
messed up my sleep schedule,
Just the usual
quite a few things.
Usual Creshisms, as I like to call them. Usual Creshisms.
Yeah, kind of.
If you don't know what My Xbox and Me is, it's our weekly Xbox podcast here on youtube.com/myxboxandme and across all podcast services. Make sure you go subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/my Xbox and me. I don't mess that up often anymore, which is nice, but
I'm gonna be honest. I thought you were just gonna spell it out. I was excited.
MYA. No, that's cool. Also, a little bit of housekeeping. Remember, I say remember. We have launched, maybe, kind of, sort of, possibly, who knows, a brand new podcast called My PlayStation and Me, to be hosted by myself with some guest hosts as well. In talks with Mr. Midas to come and join me on the show, Rahula Hoop, who you may know as well, if you're a kind of funny best friend. And, of course, plenty of other guests that are welcome to come on anytime they want. It will not be a weekly podcast. In my head, it's not something that I want to do weekly. It's more a case of maybe fortnightly, maybe monthly, maybe just when big topics come. I just want a place that we can all talk PlayStation. Obviously, we have My Xbox and Me. It's my baby. Like, it's the thing that I've been building, growing, doing since the day I tried to walk into this industry, right? My PlayStation and Me is just a place for me to be able to talk PlayStation. I've got a PS5. Obviously, people hear little bits of it here on the podcast, like we did the Final Fantasy stuff, and there's other games that like have come up on the podcast, which I just don't think fit here. Even in a segment of like, other things you've been playing or something like that, it just doesn't work. People that come here come for Xbox dedicated news. That isn't going away. The Xbox is still my main console. I'm just looking to build a place that I can talk exclusives, and amongst other things. So if you're interested and you like PlayStation as well, because you're a gamer, and you all know what we're about here. We're not about fanboyisms. We're not about fanboy wars. That's just not who we are. So if you're about that and you want to check it out, youtube.com/myPlayStationandme. We're trying to get to 100 subs. We're already at 90, so if we can smash that and then go even beyond, that would be fantastic before our first episode even goes out. Of course, it will be on podcast services as well. So if you search for it and subscribe, it should be there right now, actually. Patreon producers this month: Erengard, shout out to you, my friend, FNH Paul, and the one and only Owl Tribesman. Thank you so much, dudes, for your support, keeping the show on the air, keeping us going, helping us do new things. So thank you. topic of the show this week, Chris. Not much news this week.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to just pull something out of thin air. We could have done the old clickbait. The Elden Ring gameplay. Oh my god, did you see it? Shock face in the thumbnails and all that.
Yeah.
But no, not interested. Elden Ring gameplay was like 5 seconds. So didn't really think that was worth going for topic of the show with it like in two whatever the like just no frames, no resolution. It was just like whatever. So today I thought I thought I would bring the topic to you, really, which was meant to be for you and Matt. Matt, unfortunately, can't be here this week. He had something come up at work, so he can't be here. But I thought I'd pose the question to you, which is Xbox being too quiet? Now, I wanna preface this with these questions specifically, right? Which is, the Xbox Series X and S is now 5 months old. But what do we actually have to show for it, other than the fact that it plays all of the current gen games that have come out probably very well? They play very well, they load very well, everything else, that it feels amazing, right? But Xbox itself, other than the console, hasn't really spoken to us, the audience, that are waiting for some news about some of those exclusives that are coming out this year. How are you feeling on your initial 5 months ago? You bought an Xbox Series S. Yeah. How do you feel today with that purchase?
I I'm fine with the purchase. Right, I load into games super quick. It just doesn't feel like I got a next gen console, if that makes sense. No, like it's more powerful, stuff looks better, and all that stuff. But it doesn't really feel like I've had that next gen experience yet.
No, please carry on. No, carry on.
To be fair, we've said this several times, that was supposed to be Halo.
Yeah.
And also Medium, and since your reaction to that, I assume it doesn't hit that nail on the head.
No, unfortunately not. Not for me, anyway. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, which is, again, we can always keep going back to this same thing, which is, Halo would have been here. But even 5 months out, Halo would have been here. We would have beaten the story. We would have loved it or hated it. We would be playing the multiplayer now because it would have been free to play. But we would have needed more than that by now. I would have said something to just be like, you've now had Halo and you've had the Medium. Okay, the Medium for me, I'm going to talk about this all from my perspective, which is Medium for me didn't do nothing. Let's say Halo comes out and is a solid 8 out of 10 for me. So a solid game, I enjoyed it. Going to be playing the multiplayer, doing that, cross-play, all that jazz, right?
Yeah.
I'm still sitting here now, 5 months on, going, what is next, though? And the reason I bring this up mainly is not too long ago, the 15th of January, Xbox on the Xbox Wire put out like a list of games that are coming to the console exclusively, with that being like console exclusive. Some of these games are obviously going to be coming to PC and things like that. And when I look at this list, so let me read a few of these out to you, yeah? Adios, The Artful Escape, The Ascent, The Big Con, Crossfire X, Dead Static Drive, Echo Generation, Echo Mecha, Echo 1, The Gunk, Halo Infinite, obviously take that one out, The Last Stop, Lake, Little Witch in the Woods, The Medium, which we've already spoken about, Microsoft Flight Sim, Psychonauts 2, RPG Time, Sable, Scorn, She Dreams Elsewhere, Shredders, Song of Iron, Tunic, 12 Minutes, Unexplored 2, The Werewolf Legacy 2021, Warhammer 4K, Darktide, Way in the Woods, and The Wild at Heart. I just read you a bunch of games. How many of those games do you know?
About like 4 of them.
And how many of those games are you excited about?
One of them.
Which is?
Halo Infinite.
Okay, so take Halo Infinite out of it, because that would have been out.
Yeah. Oh, you did say that's not in there.
In this world, Halo Infinite has already come out, in which I'm speaking. None of the... I'm not saying that some of these games are not going to be fun games. I'm looking forward to Scorn. I'm looking forward to 12 Minutes. I'm looking forward to Tunic. I'm looking forward to those games. But if you look at the competition, which is Nintendo, PlayStation. Those are the Nintendo. It's had a Nintendo Direct. Whether you care about it or not, we've got a new Pokemon game coming. We've got a remake of a Pokemon game. We've got that Project Octopath game that's coming. New stuff that we are expecting to come, like within this year and next year, right?
Yeah.
Go to PlayStation State of Play. Final Fantasy DLC, Returnal, and a few other titles mixed in there. I'm not saying that the Gunk, Scorn, things like that are not on the same level as Returnal, because to me, some of them are. Like, some of them, I'm that same level of excitement for me. Like, I'm interested to play Returnal. I don't mind their games. They're not the top studios of what PlayStation could be doing. Second party, not first party. I know that before someone comes for me. I'm just sort of sat here going, Xbox, you've been a little bit quiet and you're worrying me a little bit. Not because I don't think there isn't games to come, but it's a case of I'm 5 months in and you are relying so heavily right now on third parties picking up the slack and the excitement boost that we are getting every time new games go into Game Pass. I'm not going to act like I'm not, and we'll read the list later on. We've got Madden in there, NBA 2K's in there.
Yeah.
Like a load of games that I care about, and I'm so happy my friends can now play those games with me. Like, though that is magical and amazing to me. I'm so happy about that. But that being said, there's nothing else there, and I'm getting a little bit concerned about that in terms of my eyes are wandering. I'm finding myself playing my PlayStation more and more and more, and that's not why I'm starting a podcast, but I'm just saying I'm playing it more and more and more. And I'm starting to enjoy myself on that console more and more and more. Because what you got to think with the PS4 for me, I know I've spoken for a long time, so I apologize. I will throw it to you. But what happened with the PS4 for me is I just hated the UI, right? Hated the UI, played the exclusives and bounced. But the more now I'm in this PlayStation UI, because I'm playing games, and some of you care about it, some of you don't. Miles Morales, Demon Souls, Destruction All-Stars. Even though Destruction All-Stars not a great game, but it's a new game, so I jump on it, I play, I'm familiarizing myself with that UI more and more and more. I'm using that system more and more and more. And I'm finding myself looking at my Xbox now going, it's just the same thing. It's the same thing I've already had. And I know those were my arguments that I had before the console come out. Those are my arguments that I had when I was reviewing the console. And those are my arguments that I'm still having today. Where are you? Like, I feel like I'm just wandering a little bit in the games world where Vermintide comes out, so I'm playing that on PC, and Nintendo will drop something that gets me interested, so I'm wandering there. I'm just not wandering to my Xbox unless it's for Call of Duty, Apex Legends, and Madden FIFA. Like, I'm just not going there right now.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything you've said. Microsoft just is kind of at this lull period. There's the rumor of the event that'll go down in the future, which we don't know if it will or won't happen. I feel like this is why we found out like the profits that Microsoft made recently, because they were like, we have nothing else to do. Let's share this information, put it out there. I'll build some hype for our community. I do think that they need to show the conference, and they do need to show some of these games, even if they don't have the big blockbusters, just to get people excited in the console and the ecosystem.
The games I just listed, we need to see more of, and we need to know that Tunic is coming this year. Like, some of us are very excited for that game, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's the Foxlight Zelda game. Like, it looks 12 minutes. Again, a game that's been seen before. We're waiting. Like, we need what did PlayStation do? Not PlayStation, sorry. What did Xbox call theirs now? Inside Xbox. We need an Inside Xbox right now. Like, or within this month. I'll even give them the beginning half of next month as well, but we need one to be done so we can start drumming up that excitement for like, oh, that looks good, and oh, that looks good. And even, Fall Guys is coming, and we saw that, don't get me wrong, we know it's coming, but it was done in like a social post. It didn't have the same level of excitement for me, at least.
Yeah. They need to do a better job to sell us on these games. Like, I know a lot of people are always disappointed with State of Plays and Nintendo Directs, but that's because they overhype them themselves.
100%.
The programs do what they need to do. They show you the games that are coming out. They get hyped for the people that those games are marketed towards.
Yep.
And I would love Xbox to either gear inside Xbox more towards that, because inside Xbox was never really that.
No.
It was just like a general overview, and it was long talking segments where those are just sort of like in and out of the games.
Yeah.
I would prefer if Microsoft turns inside Xbox to that, or if they do something else completely different that sort of mimics that formula a bit, just so people are constantly like, there are games and Xbox does have stuff coming out. Because if somebody says, oh, Xbox has nothing right now, you can make an argument, but there's nothing you could show them like, oh, just watch this and you'll see all the games coming to Xbox.
Well, the arguments I'm having, which is, and the conversations I'm having, I really should say, not really arguments, it's more just a case of like, because I'm well informed in what Xbox has done in the industry with the studios they have purchased and what they have shown in terms of State of Decay 3, we know Forza's coming in terms of it being a games of service, obviously Halo, Fable, Avowed, I'm willing to give a chance, Everworld. There's enough there that I can go, oh, I'm super excited, but now I'm all about more the short terms. I feel like Xbox haven't maneuvered in the right ways of making deals with third parties. Remember the launch of the Xbox One? Like, Crytek made Rise. Capcom made Dead Rising. Obviously, we had Kinect games because the Kinect was a thing then. But there was just still a lot more stuff there. Sunset Overdrive came not too long after. I just don't think they've done enough with the second party / the publishing side of things, where it's like, even the games we've spoken about that I listed off, they just don't blow my skirt up, you know? They just don't get me excited in the same way. And maybe that's because I'm waiting for the rollout. I'm waiting for that big trailer of Scorn. And I'm like, damn, this looks scary. And I'm waiting for that next gameplay showing of Tunic. And I'm like, yeah, I need to play as this damn fox. Or 12 minutes. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get that story. Like, also there's the Duskfall, which is that the comic book style, story driven. Like, there's stuff to come, I know, but I'm just waiting. And my thing is, like, a lot of people are clamoring to buy these Xboxes, right? Because you just can't get your hands on them. So
yeah,
both consoles are selling out. All consoles right now are selling out like crazy. We're all stuck indoors. We don't know how much longer for with COVID. Dude, do you remember when we spoke about COVID for the first time?
Yeah, it feels like forever ago, because it was forever ago.
Over a year. Wild.
Yeah.
And, like, you look at where we are now, and I'm like, I understand that COVID's going to mess all this stuff up. You made a really great point about Inside Xbox. You're right. I think Inside Xbox should be turned into Xbox's version of State of Play, Nintendo Direct, and then they should keep doing FanFest, which is their 2 times a year to go to a new country where they've got the market super excited, and that's where they do their hyped up show with Julia Harding and all of these other hosts, Major Nelson, AC Bongos. That's when they get out there and they go and touch the players, you know, like they did in Mexico, like they did in London. Yeah. Like, that's what I think they should do. But you're right, I think they need something that's a little bit more super polished, ambiguous voice, to the point. Game, boom. Get out of there. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes. And there we go.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I do think that Inside Xbox is a chore to watch for some people, to watch the whole thing.
I agree.
I was trying to think of a better way to put it, but I think that's like the most apt way to put it.
Not for me. Yeah. I love watching them personally.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I like seeing the interviews. I like watching the gameplay. I like seeing the touchy moments, because we've had a lot of those dope moments of like the stuff they've done with the adaptive controller. That just doesn't fit in a State of Play type situation, where it does fit in the Inside Xbox formula. So I get it. I totally get it. That's why I say, like, FanFest, twice a year. We're always one in America, and then you go and touch all the other different territories and meet the fans. I feel like that'd be amazing, personally.
No, I agree.
Let's move on to Fixer Stack. And we did get some emails. Remember, you can email in myxboxandmepodcast@gmail.com. I say you can email in. I should probably check the email.
About to ask.
I know you was going to come for me, Chris. I got you, bro. I got you. But we do have questions. Can you take the first one while I check the emails then, real quick?
Yes. Do you think the mainstream gaming audience are still looking for new live service style games game experience, or do you think players are becoming tired of the mechanics associated with live service games and are wishing up to things like excessive grinding and monetization? As far as I can remember, Destiny 2 is the only current successful live service game. The Division 2, Marvel's Avengers, Anthem, and soon Outriders could all be in a list of underwhelming titles. That was a question that came in from Alderslayer.
Do you think the mainstream gaming audience are looking for a new live service experience? I mean, you're more versed in these type of games. What do you think?
I don't think people are tired of the mechanics. I think all the games you listed have done big parts of the mechanics poorly.
Yes.
And there's this compromise that I feel like a lot of these games make for profitability versus like creativeness. And in general, when you think like, oh, they found a good balance, the greediness usually wins out in that. And that usually ends up impacting the game in a negative way to some degree. Where it's like they're trying to push stuff just for money as opposed to like sort of the game itself.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And I think of that list of which you named, Destiny 2, Division 2, Anthem, Avengers, those games, yes, I think you can put them all in the same bracket, if I'm honest, where I think Destiny 2 did it better than Division 2, but I think Division 2 did it better than Avengers, and I think Avengers, I hate to say it, did it better than Anthem, just because at least I enjoyed the core story of what Avengers was doing. Wasn't presented in the way I would have liked, but it's still better than Anthem's story. Now, if you're going off gameplay, I think you go Destiny 2, Anthem, Division 2, Avengers. Like,
yeah, I think so.
I think what the problem is, and I've left Outriders out there because I actually think Outriders is going to be one of the first games that me personally, are going to understand, which is a case of, here's the story, go and loot it and grind if you want. I feel like it's a looter, story-driven game, which is, once we get to the end of the story, I don't think there's going to be much to do. But I'm going in with the right expectations, which is, I'm playing it like a Borderlands game, which is, if you want to sit there and grind out legendaries, you can, but what are you really grinding them for?
Yeah, I actually really agree with that. I wouldn't even put Outriders in the games of service category as of right now.
It's not.
I don't know. It's gonna be. You have to always be online, and if that's the requirement for like a live service game, sure.
Okay,
but in every other category, it is just a Borderlands. So while this game is being made to compete with Destiny and the likes, I really think its main competition is actually Borderlands.
Yeah, I don't think
there is the big raid. I don't think there is that big end game content. I don't think there is any of that push for any of that.
Which
right?
Borderlands has, but in its own way. Like, I don't want to take away from the Borderlands fans and people.
No, absolutely.
There definitely is an end game to Borderlands, and destroying bosses by one-shotting them and grinding out that special gun you want. And like, there's so much in Borderlands, and let's not take away from that. It's just my expectations for Outriders is very much, I'm going to jump in, I'm going to play the class that I really like, I'm going to grind that all the way to the end of the story. Then I'll probably try and hit the max level by grinding whatever the replayability content is there, and then I'm going to be done. I'm not expecting to grind every single class, like, as much as I want to, and I want the game to want me to do that, but the gameplay right now isn't tight enough to make me do that. So unless I've got a bunch of friends that are like, Fix, you want to play? And I'm like, yeah, cool, I've got a different class I can jump on and grind out with you guys. But I think with all these games, it's expectations. For me, Division 2, my expectations were set from the end of Division 1. Of all of that expansion, the raids, all of that stuff. Then you come into Division 2, vanilla, I'm not talking about all of what's there now, and it was very much, in my opinion, boring story with some of the best shooting mechanics, with one raid at the end. Which you needed to be such a high level, it's such a high barrier to entry to get in which I know it needs to be. It needs to be. I understand that, but it's not just. I don't just mean the time being put in. I mean the amount of players you need and the coordination and I need like a baby's first raid. You know? Yeah,
it's weird because I don't think that having a huge level requirement should sort of be part of the raid. Because that's artificial difficulty where you're upping numbers and stats on bosses and stuff like that. Yeah. I think if you go back and you look at Destiny 1, the first raid that came out with Vault of Glass took, I think, about a week, maybe over a week for people to beat. And it had nothing to do with power level. It was all to do with the difficulty of the content in there, the mechanics and all that stuff. And I feel like there is sort of this trade-off that some people go for. And like, I think Division 2, from my understanding, I didn't play the raid, was that they went for the higher difficulty, higher number of damage needed to be done and all that stuff, instead of focusing on the mechanics of the content, which is where I think should be the focus in general with raid-like content.
Good question, Slayer. I don't know if we answered it, but good question. Yeah. Moving on. We can't answer this one because this one was specifically for Matt, so I'll hold that one for next week, little Smitty. Thank you very much for bringing it in, though. And then we've got another one, which is, do you think we get Forza Horizon 5 this year / early next year? It's been a while since we've had a new Forza game, and we know Forza Motorsports is going to be a Series S / X game, so that's a way away. So do you think they're giving Horizon one last outing on the current gen that supports older Xboxes before they cut support for them? There has been rumors, and they say it's going to be set in Japan, and Forza seems to sell well and be well regarded, so it could get people to get a new Xbox and Game Pass at the end of the year, when hopefully consoles are easier to find. This one is from Stead. No, I don't. I think...
Yeah.
I you can start if you've got thoughts.
No, I don't think that. I think they're really gearing up for like the future of Forza as opposed to like what's going on now. I actually wouldn't even be surprised if they end up dropping the two different Forzas and put out one Forza that they continually like upgrade and keep putting out content for.
I think you're gonna get Forza Horizon again, and you're gonna get Forza Motorsport again. And those games are going to live in Game Pass, where you are constantly getting the Lego update, and for Horizon, you're going to have a base game there. Then you're going to be getting new maps, meaning new tracks, and new cars are going to get added, and they're going to cycle cars in for licensing reasons, and we're going to see a Tesla in there, and I think that is where you're going to see these two games go. Both of them are going to be games of service, but they're both going to just expand, and they're just going to I think the numbers will get dropped, and it will be a case of the best place to play these games is if you have Game Pass, because you get both titles, and they're just going to live and breathe on from there. Nah, do I think that's the right thing to do? I don't know, because they sell very well each year. All of the time, these games sell well. Does the general normal consumer understand that? I don't know. Is it maybe in 4 years' time we do get Forza Horizon : bigger and better, and then that's how they sell it again, and with all the package? I don't know. I don't know how they do it, but I do think both of these titles we won't see until next gen has fully come, and I think they will both be games of service. Like, they will be built upon.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like every year that a new one would come out. It's just like they release an expansion for it. It's like, here, put some money into the game, you get a ton of new content. But because it's not a new engine and it's not a new game completely, it's more efficient to make that as opposed to like building a new game from the ground up. I'd assume it's more efficient. I don't want to say it's more efficient completely. But yeah, I don't see the need to keep releasing one with Game Pass, because I think Game Pass is a luxury for Microsoft, and they don't have to approach the games the way they normally do. And I think Horizon would be a great test to see if like it works out with a franchise to do it that way.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think you're definitely right. I've got a couple of emails. I've one we've missed, so I'm going to read this one. It's old, but it's got a very nice touching bit at the end, so I'm going to read it anyway. Which is, hi Fix and Crash. I've now caught up with the podcast after being way behind. I'm glad you're feeling better after COVID / your appendix, and I hope Crash's house move went well. My question is, as I now have an Xbox Series X, thanks to Amazon in Spain, I'm wondering when we will truly see the next generation of games to play. I ask this as I'm playing through Valhalla, which is optimized for the Xbox Series X / S, and enjoying it. However, I feel it lacks depth. I was expecting in regards of environments, fluid movement, and textures I was expecting. Lastly, just to add, Fix, you inspired me to lose weight and get fitter. I'm doing a triathlon, and it's put the link to his fundraising Just Giving page. I'm going to put this in the description of this episode. He's already passed his goal, but if we can blow it up even more, I missed it, and that's on me. I'd love for us to take it well and beyond as the My Xbox community, if we can. But I'm going to put this out here. Doing a triathlon, and just want to thank you for your open approach to difficulties you had with your weight over the years, and it certainly helped change my life. Much love to both of you and this community. Reese, aka Reese the Renegade. Shout out to Reese, long time My Xbox and Me listener. Yeah, this guy, I hate him. Crash, I hate him.
I know, every time he comes up, you just let me know.
Because you know when like you say, oh yeah, I'm counting calories and I'm watching what I eat and blah blah blah, and then you fall back on it like 2 weeks afterwards or whatever, which I've always got the right intentions. Reese actually went and done it. Like, he did keto, his calorie counting, he did all the things that I spoke to him about in my chat one day, and now he's running a fucking triathlon. Like, come on. Like, that's absolutely amazing. Again, I will put the Just Giving page in the top of the description on the YouTube video. So if you want to go support a My Xbox and Me listener, long-time listener, please do. Apologize for missing that, Reese, but thank you for the kind words. Next one. This one's from Lewis Glover, who says, "Hey Fix, just wanted to say I'm a big fan of the show and been listening every week since your appearance on Unlocked. I started a podcast earlier this year. Wait, am I meant to read this out loud? Yes, I think I can. Earlier this year, where we have to pitch a movie as a video game or a video game as a movie. So with everyone hyped for the Mortal Kombat movie coming out, my question is, what is one of your favorite movies that you'd like to see get a AAA video game? With that said, on our podcast, Toy Story as a Lego game, or even The Mask as a Sunset Overdrive, like the game developed by Insomniac. Hope you, Haley, Kresh, and Matt are all doing well during these strange times. Best regards, and sorry for the long email, Lewis. P.S. Our podcast is Play Movies, Watch Games, Pitchcast. If you'd like to give us a shout out, completely understand if you don't. You put it in the byline, you get it, brother. There's your shout out. That's a good question. It's a different take on the questions we usually get the Desert Island question, which I absolutely hate. And Lewis, that email was not too long, well formed and well put out. So thank you very much.
I don't think I've ever thought of it to be, if I'm being 100% honest. Like, this is.
I mean, I would love. This is gonna sound so dumb. I'd love a Con Air video game. So, it's the process. You watch Con Air, right?
No, I've not.
Okay, cool. Nicolas Cage, Con Air. So the premise of the film, spoilers for Con Air. All right, everybody. The premise of the film is a guy goes down for murdering somebody when he was protecting his wife, right? He gets put in prison. He gets released. He's on a plane that he's going to get dropped off because he's getting released from prison. And they're flying all these other criminals, the worst of them, on an aircraft, which they then take over, and it's this whole thing. That as a video game, I'm not talking as like a AAA. I know you said AAA. I'm thinking more like a Way Out, or something like or a Telltale game, or something like that, where like you can tell the narrative in such an interesting, cool way, but keep it still condensed enough that people feel like it's a fun experience. But yeah, I love Con Air and I love the concept of that film. So yeah, I'd absolutely love if they did like a Con Air game. Like, that would be mad, you know? That'd be crazy to me. Yeah.
There's only one franchise that I can think of, and it really, really, I'm not gonna say it. I was just gonna make a joke about the Resident Evil movies. Wow. I can't. I'm gonna get through.
I hate you, bro. I hate you.
I can't think of. I'm gonna be honest. I don't watch movies like that. So I can't really think of anything that I would want to be turned into a game. I'm sure there's stuff out there.
The other way around, a game that I would want to be turned into a film. Ooh, that's harder because I don't think that translates as well.
Yeah, when you turn a game into a movie, you have to cut stuff out. That's always the case of it, and it's like, what could do with the cutting out of stuff?
Yeah.
I would love a Gears of War movie.
Yes.
I think that could really work if done right.
Dom.
Yeah.
Dom.
Gears of War is like the only one that I can think of. Maybe a Halo movie could work as well, but I don't really care for sci-fi, so that wouldn't really be for me.
As much as they're gonna do it anyway, but I just don't think it's gonna. Yeah,
I think a TV show is much better suited for something like Halo.
Games are so hard to turn into, especially because like they get done very well. Most of the good games that I think of off the top of my head, just I don't think they would make good films. But yeah, I'm gonna give you the Con Air. Like you can take that one for your podcast if you want this, and holler at me if you want me on your podcast. Slide in my DMs, I'll make it happen. This one comes from Lee Toplift and says, with Sony having exclusive rights to the Spider-Man game on PlayStation, what character would you like to see an exclusive game from Marvel or DC on Xbox? Love the podcast and listen every week. My regards, Lee Toplift. Or Toplift91 on Xbox Live. Well, if you want to add me, Lee, I'm at XOB space Fixer. And don't try add Crash because he's not very friendly. Sorry. What you want to give your gamer tag out?
You're
gonna do the thing where you go.
Well, I'll give you.
Why are all these random people adding me, man? What the hell's going on?
I'm gonna give you my gamer tag, but I'm just gonna let you know I might sell it. Who knows? I don't know.
Yo, have you told the people? You ever told the people about that? What happened?
Oh, I haven't. I told
Let
you.
People
okay.
know.
Yeah. So I was on my Xbox. I was playing games one day, and I randomly get a message from some guy, and he's asking to buy my gamer tag, and I respond with no. And then he responds with, "Are you Albanian?" And I say, "Yeah, I'm Albanian." He says, and then he tries to bring up a conversation with me, and then I sort of start giving him half-assed responses where I'm kind of making fun of the questions he's asking me. And then he's like, "You're a fake Albanian." And I'm like, what does that even mean? And how does that work?
That's wild.
Yeah, he sent me quite a few party invites at this point. I think he just really wants to have a heart-to-heart. Like, I'm sorry, I called you fake Albanian. I didn't mean.
Can I let you into a little secret? He doesn't, because as someone who has MC Fixer, I do not own the gamertag MC Fixer. Somebody has it, and I think it's a child that plays Minecraft. He's only ever playing Minecraft, and I send him messages very regularly saying, "Would you like to sell your gamertag?" Just ignores me. His mum must have been like, "Just ignore him, Jimmy. Just ignore the crazy guy."
You gotta add a price to it,
bro.
You really have to add a price to it.
I'm gonna message him saying, "Would you sell your gamertag for £100?"
Yeah, do that. And then if he says yes, there you go. Because like, would you sell it? Like, that's just like an open-ended question.
I need to put the dollars on it.
You gotta put the dollars on. You gotta add a value to it.
I can't believe someone took my gamertag. I hate it. I hate it. And
so I have a question.
Yeah, go on.
Way back when you had first started streaming, you streamed a lot of Minecraft, right?
Yep.
Did you? Was that gamertag already taken at that point?
I don't know.
I wonder if they watched your stream and they're like, MC Fixer, I like this.
Oh,
and they took
don't
it.
say that, bro. I say you have a heart attack. He's probably a fan out there. Just like, I want to be like
Was
this
a
guy.
fan. Was a fan, had a falling out. Now he's like, I'm not giving it back. It's mine forever.
I stopped playing Minecraft. He's like, my favorite Minecraft streamer. No.
I'll have the legacy live on.
I'll do it for us, Papa. Moving on. What's been in our box? What have you been playing this week?
I don't think we answered the question.
Oh,
no.
Wait, what question? Wait, what was the question?
I went into my story about my gamer tag. I could be wrong. We could just move on. I don't know.
Thank you for your question. I'm sorry if we didn't answer it. It happens. Crash's story was way more important, apparently. It's my fault. It's my fault. What's been in your box? What have you been playing, dude?
I played Outriders with you.
Okay, so we spoke about it last week. We'd all kind of initially had just started it very, very early on. Thoughts. What are your thoughts on the game now?
It's cool. It's fun. I think the abilities are fun.
Yeah.
I think the story is interesting enough. I think the world is very ugly. I think I think the game doesn't look amazing, with the exception of the what's the character you like to play?
Trickster.
With the exception of Trickster's abilities. Trickster's abilities are probably the highlight of the whole game visually.
Yep, I agree.
So if you're playing Trickster, I think in general you'll have a very fun time playing that game. And granted, we haven't seen all the abilities, so who knows what some of the other abilities will look like visually. There could be some good stuff with some of the other characters. It's just based off what we played.
Yeah.
But even with the visual shortcomings of the game is fun to play. I enjoyed playing it. I played through 3 characters. 2 with you, right? Yeah.
Yep.
I like it. I like the different classes. Even the one class that I didn't like, the Technomancer at first. After you start getting more of his abilities, it's like, oh, the Technomancer is actually like pretty fun. Not the best, but fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a solid experience. I think some people are greatly overhyping the game, and I feel like some people are also greatly underhyping the game. It is sort of this mixed bag.
I'm still so confused by the amount of people that I've spoken to in my chat or wherever, where they're just not giving the game even a chance, though, which baffles me the most, where I'm like, why are you not trying the game out? It's a demo. It's a demo of which you take the progression over. Like, why? It's not a beta. It's not like it's broken. There's nothing broken about this. It's a free demo that you should try the game out. But yeah, I've leveled up all of my characters now, I believe, apart from one, maybe, I think, to level 7, world tier 5. My favorite character is Trickster, like you said. I think that's the best character in terms of its abilities are the funnest for me. They make the most sense. They're just enjoyable to use constantly. I still stand by the fact that I don't think the shooting mechanics are that great. I don't think the cover-based mechanics are that great. I understand what the game is going for, though, in terms of I like the way you have to play aggressively to get health back. I think that's actually very fun. In terms of it's not just health being dropped on the floor, so you can stand back in the corner and just shoot things. It's like go out and actually go and fight these things. You have the abilities. You are powerful. Go and do that. I'm looking forward to the full release, April 1st. I am. I'm looking forward to playing it. I'm looking forward to grinding it through. And I say grind in a fun way. I think some people think when you say grind, it's only a negative connotation. And it's not for me. When I say it's just playing the game. But yeah, I had fun with it. I just hope that there is enough there. Even after the demo, it says, 35 hours more. And I'm like, that's dev math. So maybe it's only about 30 to 27 hours more of the experience. I worry about certain elements of the game. But we'll have to wait and see. We have to wait for the full release before we can have those discussions.
I will say, like, a good sign for me is actually like the gear you get. In general, you like get all the good gear that you can get in the demo at the end with all like the special stuff that affect your ability, so you don't really get to try them out. But a lot of the gear like changes the way abilities work, and some of them gives you life steal, and some of them does all these things that make playing it a different experience based off what build you go. And I think that's really, it looks really good for the game, especially in the long term for people who do enjoy grinding it and making all these different builds and sort of doing the Borderlands thing of like, what build can I make to one-shot the boss? That does look like it'll be in the game. For me, I still have this general worry of what will be the end game, and I just don't think there will be one. Is the way I'm looking at it. At least the type of end game that I want from a game.
I totally agree. I just don't think there's gonna be one, which I think that's the best expectations to go in with. So then you're pleasantly surprised if there is something. But then they haven't spoke about it, so we're still waiting for more information and things like that. So we'll just have to wait and see. Anything else you've been playing?
A little bit of Apex. We played some Apex the other day. Yeah. I'm enjoying Apex. I finally unlocked the new character, Fuse.
Okay.
He's fun.
What's his
I enjoy him. So he can throw out a little cluster bomb, and then also like he has a grenade launcher on his hand. So all the grenades you get, he can stack them in 2, so they don't take a slot each, and then he can also shoot them. He doesn't throw them in an arc. He actually throws them like horizontally for the most part, which is really cool. I think he's an interesting character. I've been enjoying it still. I played some Smite still, enjoying that. Just like the normal game. I really like I'm really waiting for the next big game, which I have no clue what it is.
I think Outriders is the next big game. Like, you think that's what we would have been playing right now. So that would have tied us over till... Ooh, I don't even know what's afterwards. There's so many... We're just waiting on so many games. Let's go. I'll bring up a list. Let's have a look. Games coming out in 2021. It's like there's so much coming that it's just hard to... Where are we? What month are we in? Feb? April? Where are we? March. God, who knows months? What have we got for Xbox? Let's have a look. You've got Monsters Energy Supercross. I know you're interested in that one, Crush.
Super. I know exactly what game that is.
RBI Baseball 21. Do you like your baseball?
I love baseball. I'm an American. Of course I love baseball, Fix.
Samurai Showdown coming this month. There's nothing big, unfortunately. You got the big.
Yeah.
I suppose the next biggest game will be It Takes Two, which is the Joseph Ferris game, the co-op Joseph Ferris game, which the previews have just come out for. We didn't get invited by EA to do any previews, unfortunately. Otherwise, we would have, because I love Joseph Ferris games. But everything I've seen of it so far looks pretty interesting. Can't wait to get my hands on it personally. You got that, and then you got Drifters at the end of the month. And then in April, what we got? Outriders, NBL The Show, which I think even though I'm not into baseball, I can't wait to play just because it's a PlayStation-owned studio putting a game out on Xbox. Just for that, the shits and giggles of that, I'm looking forward to that. It's just so... Judgment finally comes to Xbox. That's going to be fun.
Oh, okay.
Especially after playing Yakuza. And that's about it. And then there's just Resident Evil in May, obviously. That's probably like the biggest AAA game coming that relatively soonish. So I
think it's the biggest AAA game on Xbox that has a release date. I don't think there's anything else. I think there's a lot of
Mass
Xbox
Effect
is showing a lot
Edition?
of games. I wouldn't
remake. So
not for me. I don't know how hyped in general people are for it. I'm sure the Mass Effect fans are really looking forward to it, but how much it breaches outside of that, I'm not too sure.
I'm hoping Outriders is going to be able to April 1st. I'm hoping that's going to be able to get me through to Resident Evil to May 7th. That'd be nice. Like a whole month of that mixed in with a bit of MLB The Show, mixed in with if I decide to jump into Judgment. There's enough there to get me through April. So we just got to weather the storm, people. Put on your jackets through March because it's a cold season out there. It's a cold winter out there right now. Let's just say that. I haven't been playing nothing else, man. I still need to start UFC 3. I'm meant to be doing a Let's Play series in that for my YouTube channel, and I did the first episode, but the camera messed up, so I have to reshoot that. So I'm still very much at the start, but I'm looking forward to playing that. So that could be cool. Let's jump into this week's dashboard. There isn't much news, so it's a good thing we waffled on during the start of this podcast. The first piece of news comes from Matt T.M. Kim from IGN, who says, Marvel's Avengers will increase the XP grind to get rid of random cosmetic drops. Living up your heroes in Marvel's Avengers will take longer after Crystal Dynamics announced it will be changing the way XP progression will work. On March 18th, the newest DLC, Hawkeye... Oh, I suppose we got that to play through March. On March 18th, the newest DLC character, Hawkeye, is set to be released alongside the next-gen versions of Marvel's Avengers. But Crystal Dynamics is changing up some key progression mechanics, along with how random cosmetic drops will work. In a new blog, the Marvel Avengers team shared that the current XP progression curve isn't really a curve at all. Whereas most RPGs increase the amount of XP required to level up as players get stronger, Marvel Avengers XP is linear and static. This has led to the pacing issues, such as skill progression currently being rewarded too fast, which may be confusing and overwhelming to newer players, says Crystal Dynamics in the blog. To fix this, Marvel Avengers will be increasing the amount of XP required to leveling up, starting at around level 25. The required XP will increase increase the closer players, to get to level 50, which is the max level. Crystal Dynamics says players looking to max their character quickly can try and grind through before March 18th when the update is set to go live. Crash, what do you make of this?
You know, my favorite part in any game, RPG that you have to grind is when they hold off on the abilities till later on in the game, because that's always super fun when I find out, oh, my character had this ability basically when I'm at the end of the content that's available. It's always the best thing, and I love it. I'm really glad that Crystal Dynamics is leaning really hard into that. This is a dumb change. I don't like their reasoning. I think you're putting a nail in a coffin for anybody who might want to come in the game, especially locking.
Go on.
locking abilities later on is such a counterintuitive thing. It's not confusing. It wasn't confusing. I don't think anybody is confused because the different stuff you unlock aren't so different.
No.
They're not like vastly and drastically different styles of play. And I think that's the issue with what they're saying.
The characters don't even become to be fun to play until you hit all their abilities.
Yep.
Like, the thing that confuses me about this the most is the fact that why are you messing with a dead game? Focus on its content, not the way the level system works. The level system isn't broken, in my opinion. Like,
I agree.
The one thing I will say that they've done here is they have convinced me to go and now try and grind all my characters to level 50 really quick, because I don't want to have to do that. Yeah. So a part of me is like, oh crap, I'm going to have to say to Hagley, hey, we got to play this weekend because I need to get my other characters on Xbox like level 50. So they've done that, but it just seems so counterintuitive to do this to new players. Like, so, and they're doing this before the update, like as the update comes out. So anyone who's been waiting for this game to run on next gen is going to have to play it even longer and have a more grindy experience for no apparent reason other than they think people find it confusing, which nobody does.
Yeah, I've seen some people say, which I think is kind of probable, is that the game's going free to play, and this is sort of them gearing up towards the game going free to play. Or it's gearing up towards them selling XP boosts and trying to make money that way.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, I think one of those is probably what's happening here, because otherwise there's no real reason for the change to happen. It's not really a quality of life change that makes anyone want to go back. It's more so, for me, it's a deterrent to go back in the future. It's like, I might go back now, but for the next character, I know the fact that characters don't get good till the end. I might see a Hawkeye, and that might be a character that I might be like, I want to hop on and try. I'm not going to hop on to try it. It like pushes me towards not doing that.
What am I leveling up for, Marvel? Crystal Dynamics. Yeah. Why? Explain to me why I am leveling.
Yep.
To unlock these abilities. Why do I need these abilities? To fight the bosses. There are no bosses. Like, come on. This is ridiculous.
I absolutely agree.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. If you want me to, if the grind to go fight Thanos, cool. Or MODOK, like you said before, cool. Or, I don't know, Timmy Big... I'm not going to swear. But give me something. Like, you're just like, we got the Kate Bishop DLC, cool. I haven't played it yet, but I've heard it's like a few missions. They're relatively interesting missions, but it's a few missions. We're getting another very similar character with a few missions. What am I doing here? Where is the raid? Where is the reason to be level 50 in the first place? Like, this is so easy. Like, let me say, when I say this is so easy, I don't mean making games easy. I don't mean any of that. This is not to discourage anybody. But in terms of a roadmap, you know when you make this type of game, surely when you have the Marvel IP, who is our end boss should be the first thing. I don't care if it's Doctor Doom. Like, who is the guy we are gearing every player to want to go and fight? How have you not got that? And if you do have that, why on earth is it Taskmaster and bloody, what's his name? Abomination.
Yeah.
Those two characters.
Like, it's such a weird thing in a weird landscape, and it's kind of the trap that Anthem fell into as well, is like, oh, if we make this world and we make it functional and we add this loot and this
we'll make it later. We'll make the content later.
To get through like the story, we'll add the content for that, and then after that there's nothing. There's no content there. There's no real reason or purpose for the grind. I think everybody looked at Destiny and they were like, what did Destiny do wrong? People didn't like the grinding part of Destiny. No, people didn't like when the grinding never felt like you were accomplishing anything. The grind was fun because you were grinding for the raid.
Yep.
But like, what's the purpose of having even an enjoyable grinding experience if you're grinding for nothing? The grind is literally irrelevant to your experience of the game.
It's so frustrating.
So, I don't know. This is just screaming like they're putting the nail in the coffin for Avengers. I don't think there's much that the game can do outside of a raid. And it has to be a good raid. It can't even be like a mediocre raid for me to get into it and be hyped for what the future of the game will bring.
Come back. Come play with me. Play the game with me.
I would, but you see,
If you say
installed
hard drive
Call of
space
Duty
one
to
more
play
time,
with
I'm
you.
gonna kill you, bro.
I installed Call of Duty to play with you,
No,
so I
didn't,
can't
you
like
liar.
Avengers.
You're an absolute liar.
I did. I have Call of Duty installed to play with you. That's not a lie. Yeah.
Oh wow. Wow. Moving on. This one's written by Adam Bankhurst from IGN, who said Epic has officially acquired Tonic Games Group, the development company, behind Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. Epic shared the news while also confirming your gameplay isn't changing, and Epic will continue to invest in making the game a great experience for players across platforms. Furthermore, Epic has said, quote, your favorite colorful beans will still stumble across the chaos on PC, PlayStation, and soon Nintendo Switch and Xbox. So there you have it. Epic have bought another studio.
I'm interested to see if this means that the game will get more content and better content, because I think from my understanding with a lot of people with Fall Guys that a lot of the content that releases is like samey, it's slightly remixed with nothing really super new or unique. I wonder if Epic acquisition and sort of the money that they have access to now will change that in any way, shape, or form.
I think obvious changes we see is obviously crossplay will come now, guaranteed. Have they got like private lobbies yet? I don't know.
I think I saw a while ago that like streamers and like big content creators had access to private lobbies. I don't know if it's something the general like consumer has.
How did this game not launch with a map creator?
I don't know. Like that's
some of the stuff people would have made. It would have made it so epic.
Yeah, I think that's what this game could really benefit from. And then like, hey, every week or every month we're adding like one of the player created maps. Like, it gets the most upvoted or gets played the most or whatever it is. I think that would be a way to like consistently add new content to the game in a very creative way.
It would have been dope. Dope. Moving on. This one's again from IGN, written by our friend Ryan McCaffrey. Shout out. Aliens Fireteam, a Left 4 Dead-like three-player co-op PvE shooter, has been announced for release this summer on PC, Xbox Series X, and Xbox Series S. Developed by Cold Iron Studios, revealed that their project was teased back in 2018, will take place over a multi-mission story campaign, seemingly similar to a structure of, say, a Left 4 Dead or a Back 4 Blood. Cold Iron co-founder Craig Zinkevich, apologies, says one of our goals of Aliens Fireteam is to fulfill the Cameron-esque fantasy we saw on screen back in 1986. Classic Aliens. Fireteam is set in 2202, 23 years after the original Alien movie trilogy. At this point in the timeline, the xenomorph outbreaks are rare, but the aliens are widely known about. I'll leave it there for that. If you want to do some more research on this game, you certainly can. Did you see the video plus screenshots for this one?
I saw the screenshots. I didn't know there was a video.
I believe there's a video that came out. I didn't see it, but yeah, I just don't care.
Yeah, Aliens never
got
done anything for me. Yeah,
no, me either. I've seen the films and they're good films. I'm not gonna act like they're not good films. Like they're very, very good. But it just doesn't. I don't need another class-based game. You got your gunner, your demolisher, your tech, your doc. I just feel like we're beyond that now. You know.
I also think like the struggle a lot of these games are gonna have is that the original creators for Left 4 Dead are making their own game, and for a lot of people who are a fan of that style of game, they're mostly looking forward to what they do because they have the most success. They'll have the biggest chance at making something that is new and unique, but still tied to that old style of game.
Yep. No, I totally you've hit the nail on the head. I'm way more excited for Back 4 Blood than I am for this personally. Yeah. Next one. Harry Potter RPG Hogwarts Legacy will reportedly allow for transgender characters. Now, I got quite a few tweets actually about this because obviously I've been quite. I don't really know where I've been from people's perspectives. From my own, I've been outspoken. Fuck J.K. Rowling. Fuck everything that she stands for. I don't care. I personally will not be giving this game any of my money. Personally. And I want to let the audience know, there will be a deep conversation before Hogwarts Legacy comes out with myself, Crash, hopefully Matt's here, and I will ask Laura, Kate Dow to join us. Because as I've said before on this subject, if this is your first time you tune in, listen up, which is, if this was a racist person funding the KKK, I would absolutely be sat here screaming at you all to not fund this person, not give this person any money, etc., etc. I've always said I have transgender friends, people that are transgender they have better experience in this, and this is who this affects, you know. So I will be defaulting to them for what I should be doing in terms of being an ally, in terms of doing the right thing by them, my friends and people I care about. We've had this discussion a lot. I've been in a few Discords, and this conversation keeps coming up. It keeps coming up. I'm gonna play the game. I'm not playing the game. I'm not buying the game. I'm buying the game. She's already rich. Blah 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 blah. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read this, then I'm gonna go to Laura's tweets. Then you're gonna make up your own mind. But the people that are tweeting me like, hey, like, they've done the right thing, you'll hear my opinion in a second. Hogwarts Legacy, the upcoming game set in the Harry Potter world. Sorry, this is written by Adam Bankhurst as well. The upcoming game set in the Harry Potter world will allow transgender characters. As reported by Bloomberg, sources have confirmed that players will be able to create a character that has either a masculine or feminine voice, no matter what their body looks like. Furthermore, there will also be a choice to be either a witch or a wizard, no matter what previous choices they made. This will then help determine what dorms they are placed in and how they are addressed by other characters in game. Okay, that's that. Laura tweeted out this when Jason Schreier broke this report and tweeted this. This is from @LauraKateBuzz. It's BUZZ at the end. Go follow her Twitter if you want to follow up on anything. And I reached out to Laura, by the way, to say, can I read these tweets on here? And she said, more than welcome to. She was happy to come on and elaborate. And I said, don't you worry. I promise you that will happen at some point. We don't need it yet. I want it to be super fresh, this game being ready when we have that discussion. This news story about Harry Potter Legacy, apparent character creation options doesn't go far enough for me to change my stance on the game. Lots of games without transphobia attached already offer this. Not gender locking characters options isn't enough to fix this. It's still supporting Rowling's properties. WB still won't publicly denounce Rowling's views. WB Games CEO hasn't changed his, quote, being transphobic is just an opinion and shouldn't be criticised, end quote, stance. It's still produced by a knowingly right-wing arsehole. I want to just interject there. The right-wing arsehole has now stepped down. That came out a couple of days ago on Kotaku. So shout out to Kotaku who got that. But he said he wasn't forced out and things like that. I just don't see the point in reading it. And yeah, back to Laura's tweets. Come back and talk to me when WB have publicly stood against Rowling's views. Come back to me when you're talking about canon trans characters who are heroes and will spend the game explaining to their players why Rowling's views are hurtful. Come and talk to me when WB Games is transparent about whether or not they plan to create future Harry Potter games after this, or what steps they are taking to counteract the money they're paying to Rowling for this project. Talk to me when WB publicly stands up against transphobia. And yeah, let's be frank, this is getting labelled as a transgender option when other games with open optional character creators don't label it that way. It's a PR band-aid. It's their try to deflect angry from the fact they don't plan to denounce Rowling's views. This is 100% a repeat of what Cyberpunk got in trouble for over those energy drink posters. So added quote, trans character creation option, end quote, that locked voices to pronouns. I don't doubt there are some well-meaning pro-trans folks at WB working on this game. I have no doubt some of them pushing for this to fix the situation. Still, it's not enough to change the fact that the public faces of the company will not so much as denounce transphobia. Nah, sorry I went on for a bit long there, Crash. I do apologize. But I felt like the tweet thread that I was telling all of my Discord and other Discords that I'm in to read it, because people keep doing this. What's your opinion? What's your opinion? What's your opinion? It's not something that affects me. Like, I understand it from a broader perspective, which, again, my opinion, yeah, on this. It's a PR stunt. We all know, and that's what really kind of made me feel a little bit sick, if I'm honest. With I had a lot of people, so I'm not attacking anybody, but I had a lot of people that messaged me, DM me, and stuff like that. Was like, see, they're doing the right thing. Fuck off. Like, stop it. Stop it. I mean, are you that silly? Like, come on.
Doing the right thing would be denouncing transphobia and all that stuff, and they haven't. That's like the one thing they've danced around, and even it's just character inclusivity and isn't a checkbox. You can't just sort of say, hey, we have a trans person in the game, and so our game's okay. That's not how it works, and that goes from having black characters in games, so on and so forth. It really goes to anything involving inclusivity. It is not a checkbox. Having a character in a game does not make the game okay. It could still be based off transphobia. It could still have all these other issues in the game. And so this change really doesn't do anything, especially when the one defense that the game really had for it was like, oh, that's J.K. Rowling's views. That's not the game developer's views. Yep. And then that sort of like, we see that that's not true either. Yep. So it's like, that's not the case. This game really doesn't have anything going for it to make you say, hey, I should get the game. And you're right. We should be listening to people who this affects. That should always be the first people we go to for an opinion on something like this.
Yeah, Moody wrote in and said, "Hello everyone. Hogwarts Legacy is to include a trans inclusion character creation. It's a good thing. Is it a good thing, or is it just an extra band-aid to try cover up an already bleeding game, Mr. Moody?" Again, guys, when I talk on this strictly from my own point of view, which is, let me make it very clear. I love Harry Potter. My fiance loves Harry Potter. My fiance may buy this game. I can't stop her. She's that into Harry Potter that she may do that. That's not something, I'm not saying she will, but I'm saying that, like, we can't stop people from doing things. But you know what you can do is you can educate yourself, and then you can make the decision on whether you care. Me personally, I care enough about my friends that this hurts that I will not give it money. Nah, I need to have an open, more discussion about this, whether it's a case of, can I cover the game? If WB reach out and say, here's a code for the game, can I cover it? Should I buy it pre-owned? Matching a donation of a size for what is the right thing to do? I don't have the answers. So what I'm going to do is go to somebody who can at least give me their opinion. Doesn't mean you have to agree with that opinion, but someone that can give me their opinion and this actually affects. Because us straight people, non-trans people talking about this, I just don't get it. Like, you need to go to people this actually affects. Simple as that, in my opinion. Yep. And that's where my stance is going to be. Fuck J.K. Rowling all day, every day. Every time I mention this game, every time, I'll find out what the right thing is to do for me and my business and how I should cover it, but make it very clear and very known. Fuck J.K. Rowling. And I will, to the best of my ability, not be giving her any money in any way, shape, form I can. Knowingly. But that's just me. That's just me. Next piece of news, no new Need for Speed game, or well, there was one, but it's being delayed. So the team can focus on helping out, I should say. Sorry. Let me do this all again. New Need for Speed delayed to focus on next Battlefield, EA confirms. EA has shifted Criterion Games off of its Need for Speed project to help EA DICE with development on the next Battlefield. This game, which is currently untitled, is expected to release this fall for the Xbox Series X, and it seems DICE needed some extra help getting the game ready for its release. According to new reports from Polygon, EA insists that Criterion Games will return to development on its Need for Speed game, which is set to come out in 2022, though. So, does that bode well for the next Battlefield? If they've had to drag another team off to help out, or do they just need extra hands?
I don't think it bodes negatively. I don't think it bodes well. I just think that from EA's perspective, this next Battlefield is super important for them. Battlefield's been on this sort of consistent decline.
Yep.
It's seen a little bit better days recently, but not really to what it used to be.
Yep.
So I think for them, this is like, hey, let's really try and make Battlefield what it once was and really, really hit it out of the park with this one.
I think the thing to watch here is just to make sure they do get to go back and work on the project they actually want to work on. Because we've seen EA do this with studios before, where they just get sucked up, and it's like, or especially at Activision, when you become like a map team and stuff like that. Like, It's just like, EA needs to still like, okay, we need you for this, but we do assure you that you'll be working back on whatever it is in the near future. So I hope that is the case. Last story for this week's My Xbox and Me, which is EA 2021 live event has been cancelled.
E3.
Sorry, I said EA. E3 2021's live event has been cancelled according to LA City documents. Not too surprising, Crash, if we're being honest.
Yeah, no. I saw a lot of people tweeting that this was sort of like the end of E3, and it's like, this was expected. Even when they announced like, hey, we're going to be having our own showing, like, I didn't expect them to have like an in-person event.
No,
I don't think that was ever on the table, especially with the way the virus has been going. It's still there. It's not gone. It would be really, really not a smart move on them to do that. So yep. I think this is per the course. I don't think this is anything super shocking, or shouldn't be, rather.
I mean, so you would expect, right? But
yeah,
I don't know, man. It's one of those ones where I'm like, it could go either way, man. It could go either way. Like, this could be it if it's not like super popular, which I think it will be super popular. Because I think Xbox will come back in the fold. I think they're gonna have, today is the ruling on Bethesda in Europe, so we'll know as of tomorrow. We might have to do a whole new My Xbox and Me. Like, if it gets denied, like, there'll be a whole new show. So we'll find that information out. I don't know. Just keep your eyes out. I really want E3 back, like, really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, but we'll have to wait and see.
2020 was such a poor year for announcements, and not to say stuff didn't get announced. It's just there was no moment where I was like, "Oh, this is gaming Christmas." There was no moment about that, yeah. And that's kind of like, I think, one of the biggest disappointments of 2020 as far as gaming is concerned. So I do want to see E3 come back and sort of get everybody in the same area to announce stuff at the same time, and it's just a really dope weekend. I would really love to see that.
Agree. Games with Gold, Warface Breakout, available March 1st to March 31st.
Vicious.
Thank you. Attack Llama. Yeah, very vicious. Attack Llama Apocalypse, available March 16th to April 15th. Metal Slug, what a fantastic game. Available March 1st to March 15th. And Port Royal 3, available March 16th to March 31st. Let's plug, and get ourselves out of here, Chris. What have you got to plug, my friend?
My PlayStation, me at YouTube.
YouTube.com/ I don't even know what the URL is right now.
It's not going to be my PlayStation.
No, not yet. Right? It will be soon. It will be soon. If you do actually want to go check that out, go to my Twitter page. It's probably the best place you can probably find it. I've tweeted about it a few times, so it should be there. Yeah, if you care about a PlayStation podcast, go check it out. It's going to be very similar to this with different hosts. I'm sure Kresh will be on it at some point because I will need guests, I'm sure. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to doing it. Make sure you follow Kresh on Twitch so he comes back one day. Silence.
One day.
Silence.
One day.
I respect it. I love how we were just talking about new phone padding as well. And you're like, oh yeah, go get this new phone pad. I'm like, what for? You ain't a streamer. What are you getting that for, bro?
oh, I just won't block out the sound because
I
like my
respect
mom's
it.
been like, you're being really super annoying, and she might kick me out. So
That won't happen. That won't
that
happen.
is that's a joke, by the
You
way.
got you got more chance of that kid finding you on Xbox Live and beating you up. Let's
Bro,
get your game
I'm,
attack.
I'm worried everywhere I go now.
Watch over your
Where
shoulder,
is he?
bro. Watch over your shoulder
Yeah.
because he's coming. You can follow me everywhere at MC Fixer. Yeah, my PlayStation and me YouTube channel is a big one to push right now. My main channel, my TikTok. I'm posting
Yeah.
TikToks.
I've been
So
popping off on TikTok.
I don't know about that, but I'm making them. If you wanna come and check me out, I'm over there. I'm doing YouTube Shorts. I'd love to. The truth is, I'd love emails to know what more you want for the My Xbox and Me channel. Like, did you miss it when we did the live streams? Do you want the live streams to come back? Do you want more polished Let's Plays? Do you want to just see me and Crash and Matt goofing off? Like, what is it more you'd like to see from My Xbox and Me? Because again, this channel isn't. I don't want this channel to just be a podcast channel. I do want it to grow well beyond this. But I need your help to know what it is you exactly want. So that'd be amazing to know.
Please let us know, because it's like really hard to like figure out what content to make and to put time into that'll actually like has interest in it.
If you are if you are someone who just listens to the podcast and you bounce, just tell us. I just care about you podcasting. I like the fact that you guys are there every Friday and you're there for my commute or whatever the case may be. Just to have that feedback is amazing to us. Because it lets us know not to waste our time paying for an editor, producing a Let's Play series. Like, it just lets us know that, like, yeah, that's not the sort of thing this audience cares about. If it is, let us know on our Twitters, at MCFixer, at Kreshnik Plays, or come into our Twitch chats, email us, my Xbox and Me podcast at gmail.com. Feedback is so important, and it means the world to us. And thank you to the new names I'm seeing in the email, so I do appreciate you. I'll make sure I check it more, and I won't miss them for 3 months like I did Reese's. I promise. Till
Poor
next
Reese.
time, I love you, leave you, see you all later. Thank you all for the support, and goodbyes.
Goodbye.